Hi, Maddie Cook. How are you?
I am fabulous, thank you, Haley. Jay, how are you today, my love?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited about today's topic. I think it's
Oh,
it's something I think's really interesting.
yeah.
And so we're going to talk about generational differences today. We're going to talk about it in the workplace, with clients, but really the difference between, boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, etc.,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
have a bit of discussion around this. And I first started getting really interested in this when I had a salon owners membership. I was coaching a lot of salon owners, and a lot of salon owners I was talking to were sort of Generation X or boomers.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were telling me they were finding it really difficult to manage the younger generations, like the
Mm-hmm.
Gen Zs. They were like, I just don't understand them. And what's
Yeah.
motivated people for years isn't motivating them. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to motivate them and look after them
Yeah.
um, and train them. And so I
Yeah.
got really interested in that. And so I did I did some research. I looked at a lot of studies
Mm-hmm.
and pulled out the information that I thought was really interesting to the hairdressing industry. So all my information comes from studies. I can't remember what studies now.
Don't
When I
quote
got
us,
this information,
guys.
don't quote us. And I think the thing to remember with the information that I've pulled about the different generations is it's like broad strokes.
Oh, yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
every single person. It's very, very generalized. So
Yeah.
won't be true for everyone. But I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of the stuff in my generation rings true for me, and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. And so take it with a bit of a pinch of salt. But I think um, I think it's really interesting to think about generations and what they care about, because I think that stuff
Yeah.
it does work in the main. In the
Yeah.
main,
I think if
yeah.
you've ever worked with or had clients who are a fair bit older or younger than you, you've run into some sort of like generational differences. So,
Yeah, and then you can just think, I
yeah.
don't know why they think like that. I
Yeah, it
don't know
seems
why they
like there's
need
clashes.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I really thought about it from a leadership sort of point of view. Really, like
Yeah.
how do you how do you motivate people in different generations? So that's how I really thought about it when I was
Yeah.
putting the information together. But
Perfect.
we're
So
going to
we'll
talk
go,
about
yeah,
how to
let's go
think
through
about people
it.
as clients as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And we can apply it to clients as well for anyone who's got like people of different ages. So let's
Hmm.
start with the lovely boomers. So this is
Baby
you, the
boomers.
baby boomers, and these are people who were born between 1946 and 1964. So as you're listening, I want you to think, which generation am I in, or who do I know who's in this generation? And I'd love to know if any of this rings true, as Haley is very kindly sharing the study with you.
So I'll tell you some facts about boomers in the workplace. Baby boomers really like structure
Mm,
in the workplace. They like to know who's doing what. They like things to feel organized, and they favor a democratic culture. They don't like hierarchy at all. However, on the other hand, they really like things like status. They like to achieve status,
mhm.
even though they don't like a hierarchy. They want to be at the top of it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, yeah,
Having some status is important to them.
yeah.
Um, Baby boomers like to be rewarded for being loyal, and so they think if they've worked somewhere for 30 years, that should be rewarded in itself. But they also like a real clear progression. I've worked here for 30 years and I rose through the ranks over the years. That's normal to that
Hmm.
generation, and that's what they think's important. Um, they like a space to be able to share their opinions. They feel very unhappy when they're not allowed to share their opinions.
Yeah.
That's the way to make a boom. If you don't ask their opinion, baby boomers will feel miserable quite quickly.
Hmm.
So yeah, they and what's really interesting is they don't need much feedback. They like sort of being told what to do and left to do it. Like
Yeah,
just
that
leave them
makes
to it,
sense. Yeah.
and they don't need telling every day that they're doing a good job.
They
Not
don't need a gold
constantly,
star.
once in a while, but they don't
Yeah.
need this constant recognition. They're quite
Yeah.
sort of self-starting.
Hmm.
And what I think's really funny about baby boomers is when they've got an issue, they don't want to go to the manager, they want to go to the boss. They don't want to faff around in the hierarchy. They're just like, they want to go to the source when they want their problem solving. So if you're employing someone who's a baby boomer, they don't want to talk to your manager they just want to talk to you. Yeah. They like this direct line. And I can see that so clearly in people that I know. And I think about clients I've known, my mum and dad are boomers, but to summarise, baby boomers are loyal, self-motivated, don't like jumping through hoops or hierarchies, and they're motivated by competition.
Yeah.
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 They like that sort of thing. I'm not motivated by competition at all. But for the generation of baby boomers, that's common that works for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I'm kind of thinking about from a client perspective. So if you have baby boomer clients, I wonder if they would like how do we give a person status? Is there something you can do like a VIP club, where you give them like early bird
How are you going to make them
booking?
feel special?
Yeah, like if they don't like the hierarchy but they want the status, it's like, how can we make them feel special? Not in a sort of gold star way, but like you've been very loyal. You talked about time served. How do we recognise that?
How do you got to reward that loyalty? Like if you've got a boomer client that's been coming for 20 years, how do you recognise that?
Yeah, definitely. Making it, if they don't want to jump through hoops, I'm thinking like, how can we make it easy to book, but in a way that's not necessarily like super technical or difficult, but like if that is for a boomer, like have a phone line, obviously it's got to work in your business, but if that's how they prefer to do things, make a phone call. It's just something, I guess, to consider.
Yeah, if you have to book online, my mum's not going.
Whereas I wouldn't go if I couldn't. So that's the problem, isn't it? With me and I'd have me or you have Linda.
That's it. Take your pick.
And also just be mindful that if they ask to speak directly to you, it's not them just being difficult. It's just how they do things, or maybe how it was easier to do things maybe in their upbringing. You could speak to a manager.
I just want to jump on the phone and sort it out quick. It's just like
all of this. I remember when I had a team and I got a call, bless them, from one of my team who was quite like flustered because they were dead busy. They were absolutely stacked, and this older lady, like boomer generation lady, came in. And she'd bought a gift card, or she wanted to buy a gift card for a niece or someone. And, obviously the girls were like, oh yeah, we'll try and help you. But I think the till roll had run out or something like that. And they were like, oh, we can, or they didn't have the vouchers. I didn't know where they were, or we just moved. There was like some particular reason. And they absolutely tried their best. But this woman was like not particularly happy because she just wanted to be able to walk in, buy a voucher, go away with it.
And they were like, print it off online.
And they said, oh, she wants to speak to you. And honestly, and they said that she was quite rude to them and abrupt, and the clients at the time said the same. And as soon as she got on the phone to me, and I could have been absolutely anyone, but because she thought I was the big dog, she was like, I'm so sorry to bother you when you're not in this salon, but can you just sort this out for me? And I thought, this is exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
just wants to go to the source and have it sorted. Jumping through hoops is just a drag, and it's a bit like, why can't I just pick up the phone?
Yeah, and I
think has worked all my life.
Yeah, it's supposed to be frustrating, and I think I wonder if it leans into the status thing of like, if they perceive they're getting to speak to a person who has higher status because they are the owner, for them maybe that makes them feel good. Like, I get to talk to, like, I have status because I get to talk to the person with status, maybe. And
makes them feel like they matter.
Yes.
Like that's
exactly.
a way
They're
that
important.
They get to feel like they matter, which is, important to people.
Yeah. The next ones, which I believe this is you, Hayley, is the Gen X.
This is me. I'm a very young Gen Xer, Maddie.
You're a tiny baby Gen X. So this
just
is between
in the bottom end.
I was going to say 1965, that's not you, to 1976. So by a whisker, I'm
in by a whisker. I'm a 75. I think about the Gen Xers as the rave generation.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
It's the rave generation.
Yeah.
And I think when you think about it like that, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Go on.
So Gen X is like fun, positive, and fast-paced working environments.
The
And
rave.
so hairdressing is a really good, hair and beauty are
Yeah.
great environments for Gen Xers.
Yeah. Makes sense.
There's a lot going on, and we like that.
Mm-hmm.
But work-life balance has become important to Gen Xers in the now because a lot of people are going to be parents in this generation,
Yeah. Of course.
as in school-age kids, kids
Yeah.
that need a bit more doing. Boomers are parents, but, they're sorting themselves out.
Yeah.
Whereas in this generation, for sure, this is a work hard, play hard generation. And that I just find that so funny because
Yeah.
that's how I think about my youth in hairdressing. I was told to be work hard, play hard. I feel like
Yeah.
that's how I was trained. And
Oh
I
yeah.
find that
Yeah.
really funny. They are the generation most likely to be workaholics, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
And I see that when I look around at my friends and stuff, it's very high priority. I think what's really interesting is that generation are motivated by money and they like being rewarded financially.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Not every generation is rewarded by money. It
Yeah.
doesn't is not necessarily want rewarding in that way. But baby boomers and Generation Xers definitely like to be financially rewarded. They like bonuses and things,
Yeah.
I think
Definitely.
it's worth thinking that probably a lot of salon owners will be Gen Xers, quite a
Mm-hmm.
lot. I think
Yeah.
millennials as well now, but I think Generation X I reckon, I mean, this is a big sweeping statement, but I bet the majority are Gen Xers now.
I think it makes sense time wise, doesn't it? Age wise.
I feel
Yeah.
like, there'll be some boomers and some millennials in there as well, but
Yeah.
I bet Gen Xers is one of the big ones.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about Gen Xers, and I see this, is you can motivate them with continuous self-improvement and education. So Gen Xers, more than any other generation, are going to want to be going on courses. They want to
Yeah.
go to industry events. They need this constant stimulation of inspiration. This is how you motivate them. And I think I see that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I'm partial to a course.
Yeah.
But I think if you're employing them, what course do you want to do this year? Shall we go to Salad International? That stuff will make a difference. But they particularly prefer in-person training as opposed to self-led. And we'll
That's
get to
really
this. The younger
interesting.
generation's
Yeah.
quite like self-led.
Mm-hmm.
Generation Xers are like, no, no, no. I want to turn
Mm-hmm.
up in person, have someone show me. They're not very good at self-led online stuff.
Yeah.
Generally, they'll find that more irritating. Gen Xers, more than other generations, hate being micromanaged. Now, speaking for myself, I hate being micromanaged. And they reckon this is why a lot of Gen Xers become self-employed, run salons, entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to do things how they want to do things, which I think is interesting. They're like boomers in the way that they just want to talk to the boss. I've got
Yeah.
this thing and I
Straight
just
up.
want to talk to the high person.
Yeah.
They don't want to faff around with hierarchy the same. And similarly to baby boomers, they don't need loads of feedback either. They're a bit
Just
like,
crack on.
just leave me to do it. Like, I know what I'm doing, leave me alone. And I see that so much. Like Gen Xers don't need an appraisal every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just annoying. Like when they've been there 20 years, they're like, I'm all right, thanks.
Just tell me
can
if
do that
anything's
with the
gone horribly
kids.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that there's that thing when they get to a certain age of like, am I still having to do this stuff?
Yeah.
And I think there's a thing with Gen Xers and boomers where they feel like once they get to a certain stage, how they're treated should change.
Yeah,
Their
that's
loyalty should be
interesting.
rewarded.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, can you just leave me alone?
Yeah. Just let us
They
do my
don't
job.
want to be doing all this, one-to-ones and appraisals. They're more likely to find that stuff a bit irritating.
Yeah.
But they want send them on education regularly.
Go big buzzing.
Summarise, Gen Xers, this is me, and I feel this works really well for me. They like being in charge of themselves. Check. They like flexibility because they're their responsibilities. Yeah. Constant education, inspiration, and like being rewarded financially.
Ticking
I
all your
like all them
boxes.
things.
Yeah.
Ticking all my boxes.
You're a classic Gen Xer.
I am. But I get the millennial. I think because I'm only a year or two away off millennial, I understand
yeah,
millennials as well. But I do think I sit in the X more strongly.
a little bit more. Yeah, and I think from if you've got these folks as a client, if you're thinking about that idea of like a lot of them might be parents and they, prioritize flexibility around parenthood and balance and stuff, they might want appointments around that. So they might want to do stuff within school hours, or maybe they want evening hours if it means that's the time, if the kids are all off doing extracurricular activities, whatever.
Saturdays. Well, probably not Saturdays.
Yeah, because might be run about after the kiddos, mightn't they?
Yeah, they're being taxis.
Yeah. Also, again, with if kind of financial things motivate them, is like how can we give them additional value, but tell them that they're getting these like little extras. I love like random acts of kindness where you're like, Haley, you've been coming to me for ages. Let me give you this little free treatment on the house. P.S. Do you want to add it in
Here's
next
some
time?
samples.
Yeah, like stuff that
Here's some samples. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love getting given samples.
We love them
I
and
love
then
that
never
so
use
much.
them.
It's like I'm on holiday, me. I've got a big bag. I take them on work trips. When I go away overnight, I take all the samples.
I always say I'm going to take them and then I forget to take them, so I've got millions. And then I was thinking, like, if this is the generation of like the workaholic, I think there's two ways we can maybe approach this. So we can either like lean into that and go, okay, if you're a workaholic, come and work. So telling them that there's a plug, there's a laptop station, in front of the mirror, you've got free Wi-Fi. Or go against it and be like, you're working your ass off. This is the place that you come to sort of rest and chill from work. Yeah. So I think we can kind of be mindful of both sides of that.
Yeah.
The next,
interesting,
the greatest generation. This is me. It's you, girl. The Spice Girls generation. Millennials, 1977 to 1995. I am blessed to be born in the same year as Taylor Swift, 1989. Tell us about myself, Taylor Swift, and the rest of the millennials, please, Haley.
Well, millennials were called millennials, weren't they, as well? Did you know this? Because they were going to hit the workforce at the turn of the millennium.
Well, I hope I wasn't, because I was 11. But I hear what you're saying, because the older ones would have been, the top
end would,
it was definitely.
That's why they were called millennials. That's my fun fact.
Thanks for the fact.
So I think the millennials is where there starts to become big changes. I feel like millennials and baby boomers is where the big understanding stops.
Yeah.
Like you hear baby boomers moan about millennials and millennials moan about baby boomers. But us Gen Xers in the middle, people tend not to moan about us the same, because I feel like the one above and the one below, it's not so different, but it's the first one where there's a one in between. Yeah. So millennials like collaborative work environments. Yeah. They like to work with other people in teams, whereas Gen Xers and baby boomers prefer to just be left alone.
Yeah.
But they like doing things with other people. This is where I like doing things with other people, which is like this podcast. So this is where I overlap a little bit in the millennials. But they like praise for their achievements. Whereas if you remember, baby boomers were like, I've been here 30 years, I want praising for that.
No, I want praising all the time.
All the time. Well, that's interesting. They totally do. But you want praising for when you did something good.
Yes, like literally you're not really every day in the gym, I'm like, can everyone just... I just did another half a kilogram.
Where's my sticker?
We all recognise it. Where's like sticker? We have an app and you get a little cup symbol, and if I don't get a cup, you don't even want to know who.
Oh, you love a star chart, you don't?
I love a star chart. I love a pat on the head, me. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so not so interested, maybe not expecting to be in a job for 30 years, more interested in what you bring to the table. Whereas a baby boomer might be like, they've only been here 10 minutes. What's happening? Millennials are like, what do you mean? I'm good at it. Why do
Yeah.
I have to have been doing this 10 years to be good? And I
To get
think
a
we see this
promotion
in the
or
hair industry.
mm-hmm.
But I like, how you've only been hairdressing 3 years.
Yeah.
You're
How
not
can you be
allowed to
fully
be great
booked?
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't be educating. But it's like, but what if they're
Yeah.
just really good? Whereas the older generations are like, you've got to
Time
serve your
served, isn't
time
it? Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
That stuff comes to those who wait, and millennials are like, nah, I'm good at this.
Mm-hmm.
They're well, just like you were saying, I want validation every 10 minutes. This generation changes from the ones above because they need feedback constantly on how they're doing.
Yeah.
Constantly. So this is how you ease anxiety and motivate people, is
Yeah.
by telling them how good they did or what they can improve. It's like they need that constant feedback on what they're doing to feel okay.
Yeah.
Generations above, not so bothered, which I think is really interesting. That's
Mm-hmm.
a big main shift. This generation are really interested in diversity. They like being in more diverse workplaces. Just
Mm-hmm.
what's the word I want here, Maddie? Environments.
Environments. Yeah.
They want
Yeah.
to be surrounded by different sorts of people.
Yeah.
They're interested in diversity and diversity topics in general. This
Yeah.
is more passionate. They don't necessarily want to go to the boss when they've got a
Yeah.
problem. Like the boomer might have a problem once a year and they want to talk to the boss. Millennials are more like, I'd like a one-to-one every month to hear how I'm doing. I don't care who
Yeah.
it's with, but I need
Yeah. Just
constant
need it.
feedback from somebody.
It's really interesting.
But they don't need a hotline to the big boss like
Yeah.
the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
And this generation are really driven by doing something that matters to them and having meaning. Gen Xers and boomers are just like, I just want to make money. I just want a job. Whereas this generation are a bit more like, I want to do something that matters.
Yeah.
They want meaning. So these hairdressers are going to be more concerned with sustainability and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've got to feel like there's a slightly higher purpose to their work.
Yeah.
And so that's how you motivate them,
Yeah.
is by
I relate to
making,
all of the above. And I think with clients, millennial clients, it's like having a brand mission and purpose and sharing that. So there's like a bigger thing behind the brand and something that they can sort of like buy into and associate themselves with, position themselves alongside it. And I think, they're probably looking for businesses that are like talking about sustainability, talking about diversity, gender neutrality, like these big meaningful topics are gonna like attract those as clients as well, I think.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that the generations above don't care, but this generation are more likely to seek it out. They'll
Yes, yeah,
actively
go
be
and find it.
looking for hairdressers
Yeah,
with
gotcha.
these things.
Yeah, and then
Yes,
the next ones, our little baby Gen Zs, our little sweetheart digital babies. I say babies, 1996. I was 7 years away.
I
1996
just started work at Tony and Guy.
You were working hard and playing hard, Haley, at that point, I think. When these kids were in nappies. So 1996 to 2015. So I wonder, I'd love to know out of our listeners, like what generation these are all in. So please tell us.
I know,
Send us a DM.
Put it on
So yeah,
the
tell us about
Instagram.
the Gen Zs.
What's really interesting about the Gen Zs, I think, is that sometimes they get called Zoomers because their values are very similar to Boomers. And I think that's fascinating, actually, because they're interested in security, job security, and career progression, which is very important to boomers. Whereas the Gen Xers and the millennials were all like, nah, let's go self-employed.
Yeah.
And I think what's happened to the Zoomers is they've watched their parents, who are probably millennials or Gen Xers, struggle through endless financial crisis. And so they start to value security in that way. And you can see that totally. I mean, me and you are just living through endless financial crisis. Like, there's just been a financial crisis for as long as I've been working. Apart from the 90s, that was quite good. But, for ages, it's just been endless financial crisis. And that's affected the young people watching their parents struggle. And that's defined their worldview. And so young people are really interested in security.
Okay, cool.
So much less than me or you.
Yeah, that's so
They're
interesting.
similar to millennials in the way that they want that constant feedback, the
Mm-hmm.
validation. How am I doing? So regular meetings on how
Mm-hmm.
they're doing is going to really work.
Mm-hmm.
This generation are the first truly digital generation. They literally don't remember a world without the internet. So they're
Wild, isn't it?
they're much more tech savvy than other
Mm-hmm.
generations. Their attention span is shorter than other generations. When you can see that, but they're better at multitasking than other
Mm-hmm.
generations due to all these things, which I think's super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing about this generation is they're driven by their social conscience.
Yeah.
They're really interested in sustainability, the future of the planet, social justice. Gen Z, this is quite at the forefront of their mind.
Mm-hmm. I
This is a
bet. Yeah.
massive motivator for them.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really interesting. I think about it like this: the Boomer generation had different problems,
Mm-hmm.
and the Gen X had different problems, and as some problems get solved, other problems come up, and
Mm-hmm.
you have the space to worry about other stuff. And some of the Boomers were coming off the back of a war,
Oh
and
yeah.
so
Or
what they're worried
children
about
of
was
people who.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's I think that's how things change. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
what do we
think
think for
for
clients?
clients, and I think if I'm right, Gen Z is like the biggest generation, isn't it, in terms of like population? I think there's like
Oh,
more.
is it?
I'm certain there's more Gen Zs than like anyone else. I think, but I might be wrong. But they're at least going to make up a really big proportion of both the workforce because of their age, or they're coming into the workforce, or they're going to be like literally coming in, and same as sort of becoming clients.
They'll be
So
your
I
younger
think,
clients
yeah, like these, if you're trying to tap
who
into
are
like
earning
that,
though.
yeah, younger clientele, definitely having digital offerings, so having booking systems, like really leaning into tech automations, like they're going to love all of that stuff, making it dead easy for them to do that. And with this short retention span, I'm thinking like shorter form marketing, so these are going to be more into like the shorter reels and TikToks, and the hooks and the visuals, which I don't imagine a lot of older generations are that bothered about. And again, sort of similar to millennials, like these are going to be really interested in knowing your stance on hot topics, like expecting
Mm-hmm.
businesses to be like, we're publicly sustainable, or we have like a net zero date, and that sort of thing. Of they want to buy
Yeah.
into that. What's the future? What's the future going to look like with you?
Yeah, they're going
Um,
to choose their salon based on social causes
yeah,
and
definitely.
sustainability and stuff like that,
Yeah. So
for
this whole
sure.
thing of like older salon owners being like, oh, we don't talk about this, like we don't go into political topics, like there might become
Mm-hmm.
a point where like you don't have a choice because your future clients need to know how you feel about
Yeah,
like the climate emergency and things like that. So
yeah, yeah.
if you can kind of sum
Mm-hmm.
up, obviously you've talked a lot of differences, but what would you say binds everyone? Because I don't want people thinking, oh my god, I just need to pick one and lean into this, because I think there are some sort of similarities, but I'd love to hear you speak on those.
Yeah, I did look into what binds everyone as well when I was doing this, when I was doing this research, because I thought there must be human traits that bind us all together, no matter how
Yeah,
old we
of
are. And
course.
from an employed point of view,
Yeah.
um, you know, people want satisfying careers.
Yeah.
So sorry, Lily, I'm going to have to stop. Is it mine saying unstable internet? Was I going
Mine's
off?
fine. No, no, you're okay.
My headphones have died.
Ah, okay, I can hear you. Can
I've
you hear
only got
me?
one. Can you hear? I've got one,
Yeah, let's
so I
just,
can
yeah.
hear you. So let's
Okay.
just go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I will just go from. I'll answer the question again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I did look into what binds everyone together because I was really interested. I thought there's got to be like human things that bind everyone together. And from a work point of view, there absolutely is. Everybody wants a satisfying career, whatever
Yeah,
that means to you, but everyone wants to feel, no one wants to hate work. People
yeah.
want to be satisfied with what they're doing. People want an environment in which they can reach their potential.
Mm,
Everybody wants that.
yeah.
And everybody wants balance. whatever that balance is for them in their generation, everybody wants balance.
Yeah.
And also, everybody wants to be valued, everybody wants to be valued and acknowledged for what they're doing. And I think this totally crosses over into clients as well, doesn't it, Maddie?
Yeah.
Clients
totally
want to be valued.
Yeah.
Definitely. And people leave jobs. The big reason people leave jobs is they're not valued. And I think that translates to clients totally as well.
100%. Yeah. If you interviewed people who'd left, I think you'd find that over and over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My headphones have died. And so I feel like if we talk over each other, Lily's not going to be able to separate. Shall I plug my headphones in?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't just put my headphones in though, can I?
You'll have to literally
In the middle
charge
of an
them
episode.
for like 10 minutes or something.
What should we do?
Well, you could.
I mean, it's only on the video.
Yeah.
Don't matter, does it? I wonder if we need to change a setting.
It'll already have you down as using headphones, I think.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Yeah, it says it's default at external headphones for you.
Cool. All right, so shall I just move on to this bit, although we tend to gravitate? I think the thing is, Maddie, is that all of us tend to gravitate more easily towards people in the same generation as us because they're often in a similar phase of life, have similar priorities, sometimes similar beliefs based on the experiences we've all been through. Like we were saying, our generations have been through so many financial crises. We have, and whereas the boomers, not so much, and so people don't always understand that stuff. And so I do think you can be more drawn towards your own generation, but I think it's really important as a hairdresser and an employer to understand and be able to make connections with people in different generations and find ways to motivate them. I mean, the reason I started looking into this was to help older salon owners learn how to motivate the younger generations, and what we found out was social justice is what they care about.
Yeah.
And they were like, what?
Well, what is that?
But it was so different to what motivated them, which was money. That's exactly. To really, really simplify. That's that. Yeah.
And I think it's good for business as well. Like if you want to work with clients from different generations, or you want to have a business that's around for a long time that will naturally shift in who it serves, like I think it's foolish not to explore like what interests them or what captures their attention, what's important to them, how to communicate with them. So yeah, we hope this has been a lovely little informative stat share, info share. I feel like I've learned loads, Hayley, so thank you.
I like stuff like this. It's like feels a bit like doing a quiz. It's like doing a quiz though as well, isn't it? Which generation are you? Does this feel like you?
BuzzFeed quiz, yeah.
Exactly.
No, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Fab.
Fabulous. Should we do a quick little hyper focus?
You do yours.
Do you know what, Hayley? I'm going to shout out a humble British institution, and if we have listeners from literally anywhere else, you're going to think, what on earth is she talking about? But I'm sure you've got an equivalent. B&M Bargains. I'm just obsessed.
Oh, God, it's so
like,
good.
I'm going to try and describe it for someone who doesn't live here or doesn't know what it is. It's like, imagine a shop that you go to, never with anything really specific in mind, and you just come out like 50 quid lighter, but your car's minimum. Absolutely packed. I also this I think they train their staff to engage with people at the till about what they've bought, because I've had this a couple of times now, and I was in recently because I was going to the US and I was seeing a couple of friends from England, and I thought, I'll take them some English stuff because it's like super expensive to get there, and I thought, I'll get them like some hobnobs and HP sauce and Bisto and stuff like that.
Vimto.
And I got like, you know, handfuls of dairy milk, and then I got my usual like little protein chocolate things. And she was like, "Oh, you got a bit of a sweet tooth." And I was like, "Well, one, probably shaming someone to say this." And then I felt like I had to go and explain, "Well, actually, these are not for me." And I'm sure I've had them saying, "Oh, you're having a party." You know, if you're buying like balloons or something, like that must be one of their sort of shtick. But I just love it. It's a bit like the whole bargains of the world, the middle of Lidl. Like, it's the chaotic. I don't know. I'm not really looking for anything, but I'm going to buy
But I
stuff.
found it.
It's the
But I
dopamine,
found
isn't
it.
it? Yeah, like, I
I
just
think
think it's
B&M,
me.
I find myself in B&M when I'm looking for something, I've not found it anywhere, and I think they might have it in B&M,
Try
because you
it in
never know
there.
what they're going to have.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
like it's a big middle aisle at Aldi. You don't know
It's a
if they're
big
going to
lucky
have it,
dip. Yeah.
but you come out with all sorts.
Yeah, and there are proper bargains. Like, I was like, "Oh, well, I'll get my suntan lotion while I'm here." Toothpaste seemed like wildly cheaper than anywhere. But yeah, well, we have next to the big Tesco, we have a B&M and a Dunelm literally next door, so it's like the dream.
Oh, heaven.
And then a Pets at Home if you want to see some little
Get a range
hamsters.
next to that, and you've got the Holy Trinity going.
I know, it's a bit of we have a range next to a Home Bargains, which is also very thrilling.
Oh,
And an
too much fun.
M&S outlet down in Byker.
Wow.
I know I'm going to take you, Hilly, when you come up and visit.
Oh, yes. So we've got
A
a
range
list
of shops.
building of what
Yeah.
we're going to do in Newcastle.
I know. What a
Pastries,
treat.
B&M and the sea.
Yeah, what do you need? But yeah, I just thought I'd shout them out because it's like, it's just a wild
B&M's
place. Yeah, I just really enjoy it.
At this time of year, it really comes into its own in the garden section, I find.
There was little plastic pineapple drink things. Like, I love all the garden. I don't have a garden, but I'm like, oh, I really love all the garden stuff. I want to go and peruse a bit of that.
Loads of good garden furniture. But you never know, because sometimes they don't have it.
know.
Sometimes they
You
do.
can't-
You just don't know.
You've just got to. You're just going to
don't
go
know.
and give it a bash. But I love it, and I think I could
amazing.
literally be a billionaire, and I'd still go and shop down B&M because it is a bargain, and
It's good
I can get my elevated loungewear, and I can go to B&M and buy some hobnobs. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I like the cleaning stuff. The cleaning aisles are massive.
so
like, I
good.
get excited
So
about all the
good.
random cleaning gear in there.
I know. It's amazing.
So good.
You just come up with like
good.
50 bags, and not even the thing that you thought you were going to get. It's a treat.
Nothing that you need. Nothing that
and they
you
always
needed,
have
but
orange chocolate things, which I know you love. So they have orange Kit Kats. They had when orange flakes or ripples. I can't remember. There was like a limited edition. It was like in the lockdown, and a few of my mates on Instagram would just became like the chocolate orange people. So like the some in North Shields B&M, get yourself down there, and I'll be like straight in the car, bag fulls. And they do like chocolate orange Yorkies, but again, you just look at the drawer. You just have to go and see what's there. But the sweet treats.
Do you feel like it might be end of line? Is it an end of line
I don't
shop?
even give a shit. No, probably.
I
yeah.
know. Let's not think too much about it. It's just amazing, isn't it?
I don't believe in best before date silly anyway. Not for sweet treats. The sugar keeps it okay. Tell us about yours then.
This time of year, every year, I tend to get obsessed with the perfect sunscreen for my face.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I want a factor 50 in the summer,
Same,
and I don't want it to be greasy, and I don't want it to make my eyes run, and all of these things that happen. And if it could be tinted moisturizer looking as well, this is a win.
Dream.
You know, and I find that there's a lot on the market this year. I mean, Instagram is hitting me with the ads because I clicked on one. Now it's just day after day. There's one I've got my eye on called Ultraviolet. It looks amazing. And they got me in by saying, want a factor 50 for your face that doesn't make your eyes run. I was like, yes, I do. That's exactly what I need. That's because I buy them every year and they make my eyes run.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit obsessed with this Ultraviolet company. It's Australian, which makes me feel like it'll be good. Because I feel like they're good at sun cream.
Yeah, sun stuff over there, yeah. That'll be mint.
But they've got different ones to choose from, so I'm figuring out which one I'm going to get. But they've got one that says, if you don't know which one to buy this. So that's amazing probably the one I'm going to get.
As well. That's so clever.
Like amazing marketing. But they've got one with a dewy finish, with a matte one that's your moisturiser, your primer, and your sunscreen and a tip. Like, I think their marketing, their packaging, everything's mint. So I'm going to
Get
be
it in your
investing
basket.
very shortly.
Okay.
But currently, I'm just like obsessed with researching.
I love, sometimes the best part of the hyperfocus is the prep required to get into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But every year I get obsessed with this. But I feel like every year the products are getting better.
That's it. It's a
They're
new,
getting better.
every year you get a refresh because it's all different. There's
And
new
I never
options
like
for
to
you.
use the one from the year before because I feel like they say not to use factors. Like,
Yeah, it'll
you're meant
like
to get a
lose
new one
its
every year.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I've had some
So,
suntan lotions that I've used for
10
about
years.
5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like my favourite old ones.
But I worry about my face when I'm like, let's
Yeah.
put the good stuff there. So, I never want to use I always start the summer using my old one while I'm moving into the new one.
Yeah,
But that's where I am.
transitional.
I'm moving into the new one.
Love it.
That's it.
Well, keep us posted, and if I see any in B&M, I'll send them your way as well. I don't think these
Send
ones
me a
probably are in
picture.
B&M, but
No, I don't think this is in B&M.
I'll send
It's
you a
not a
snap.
B&M price.
Until there's a Schneidy version, and then it'll probably pop up there for a fraction.
Yes.
Well, it's been another thrilling episode, if I say so myself. Big us up. And as always, Jepson, I'll see you next bloody week.
I'll see you next week, madam.
All right.
See you later.
See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments.
Please support those who support us and check out Timely, who we recommend is our favourite booking system for you. New customers can get 50% off their first 3 months with a code COFFEE50.